Hey guys, I'm Pixel Dan, and this is a review of The Batman, the animated series Man-Bat figure from DC Collectibles. That's right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some figures from the newest assortment of animated-style Batman figures straight from DC Collectibles. I'm already a big fan of this line because I'm a big fan of the animated series and this art style. So let's go ahead and take a look at this action figure. As you can see, he comes in a large style window box, which is awesome. Since Man-Bat is a bigger character who has a pretty impressive wingspan, as we're going to take a look at, he comes in a really big window box that fully showcases the gorgeous wingspan of the figure within. Very cool box with that red and black deco to fit with the Batman the Animated Series. Also has that Animated Series logo on it there, and you can also see that on the back side of the box. So let's go ahead and pull this guy outside of that packaging and take a closer look at him. So Man-Bat's a little bit different than some of the other figures we've already taken a look at because since he's much more of a bat-like character instead of a humanoid, he definitely has a lot more differences in the overall design of the character. He stands a bit taller than the standard figures in the wave, so you can see him standing next to Batman here. He's just about a full head taller than him. He stands almost near the 7-inch mark. And the shape of his body is really cool too. You'll notice he's got that great bat-like head there with those yellow eyes, the kind of longer mandible jaw sticking out of the bottom there. He's got these pointed ears that are just kind of shooting straight back. He's got this long neck that is really protruding forward, and you can see he's got this great hunched back there, these broad shoulders, really long lanky arms with those bat wings attached to them. And as you kind of go down his body, he does get skinnier as you go down, which is actually a bit of a standard design style for the animated series. But he's also got those bat-like legs, so they kind of, have the knees that point backwards there a little bit, the double articulation in the legs. So he's got those more bat-like feet there instead of the standard humanoid feet. So he's definitely going to have a bit of a different look. Now, even though he's in this hunched over pose and everything, he does stand pretty well on his own. The articulation's not so bad. It's not too loose that it doesn't keep him standing. He does definitely benefit from having a figure stand, which is one thing that I've noticed with this guy. Now, he does include a figure stand, and it's one that we've seen just like with all of the other animated series figures in the line so far. It just has this little white kind of turnaround design down here, shows you just the turnarounds of the drawings of Man-Bat from the series, and then it just has a clear stand with the C-clamp on it, very similar to what you'd see with a doll stand. So you can just clamp this around Man-Bat's waist to get him standing on it. However, I'm not really sure how I feel about the C-clamp designs with these figure stands. I definitely feel like Man-Bat here would benefit much more from having a stand with a peg on it, or even a flying stand, which we'll talk about more in just a bit. The overall paint job on the guy is really nicely done. He is just a dark shade of brown. He's got kind of a tannish color seen on the wings and in his ears with some nice little line work on there. All of the paintwork is really clean, and I don't have any paint smudges or anything like that on this guy. So, very cool looking. He doesn't have a lot of extra details like washes or anything like that, because he's certainly more supposed to look like he jumped out of the animated series, but he definitely has that sort of darker and drab color scheme that was seen in that cartoon show. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about the articulation on Man-Bat here. As you can see, the head is on a joint that kind of allows it to look left and right. We also get a little bit of movement up and down, but you know what? Not enough. You can see it looks down better than it looks up. And this is one thing where I really wish that they had a joint that allowed his head to look all the way upwards so that we can get some really proper flying poses out of him. The arms are ball jointed, so you can see they move forwards, backwards, and they can also swivel outwards. The joints at the arms are a bit loose, as you can see. You see with the arms falling there, and that is actually because there is an interchangeable action feature there. Other than that, he just has an ab crunch, and being able to crunch the ab there does help a little bit, as far as like getting him to kind of arch himself a little bit for those flying poses. He also has a nice little swivel there at the torso right above the ab crunch. This is really nice down here. When you look at the thighs, he does have the standard joints that we've seen in this line so far, but there's no pins showing, which is awesome. Huge improvement there. So legs can move forwards and backwards. They can also cut outwards there. He's got those thigh cuts. Does look a little awkward when you rotate them that way, but it does kind of help with some articulation. The knees just bend forwards and backwards. It is limited because of the way his legs are arched. And then you got swivels at the lower portions of the feet there, right above that second, what would be a joint, but is not jointed on this figure. But that's okay, because it actually helps him have a bit of a sturdier base. So, let's jump back to these wings real quick. I noted that they were loose, and that is actually one of my only real gripes with this figure, is that the arms are so loose. Now, like I said, the reason for that is because he has interchangeable arms. You've got these wings that are more of just kind of, standing at ease, they're folded up there, but then you also have the longer arms with the wings fully extended for flight. It's very easy to swap these out. All you got to do is pull the peg out. You can see it just slides out real easy, real loose there. Kind of wish there was a little bit of a ball joint or something so it would lock in place a little bit better. Then we can just take that new wing and we can put it in place. But again, it's a little loose and they fall out really easy. So it's very easy to swap them, but I am definitely a bit bummed that they are a little too loose and that they fall out so easy. However, with those larger wings there, you can now pull off some cool flying poses. Now, this goes back to what I was saying where I really wish we can articulate that head a little bit better so we can get him to look forward in those flying poses. And I also wish he had a flying stand, but if you have flying stands, this is where you can really get some very cool poses out of your Man-Bat. Now, as far as other accessories go, he does have some episode-specific accessories, which has kind of been a common theme in this line. From the episode leather wings, he does have this little cassette tape accessory and these cool little pill bottle accessories. They're very tiny, but they are very neat-looking little accessories. Now, these are not something that he's going to be able to hold on to because of the way his hands are, but they work for the Batman or anything like that. Any other figure in the line there that you want it to work for. And it's kind of neat having the episode-specific accessories. So definitely a cool little pack-in with this character. Definitely not something that was needed, but neat that it was thrown in. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the DC Collectibles Batman the Animated Series Man-Bat figure. Now, really good positive note about this guy that I gotta mention is that overall he feels a lot more sturdy than the other figures have before him. DC Collectibles has said that they are working on fixing the plastics that were used because a lot of people had some breakage issues with Wave 1. So this guy does feel a lot better out of the box. It doesn't feel like I'm going to snap anything on him. So my biggest complaint is that those arm joints are too loose. The wings just tend to fall out. But if you can look past that, the figure is otherwise very nicely done. I love his design and sculpt. You can get some really neat poses out of him when compared to Batman, and I just love seeing this rogues gallery grow in this animated style. Another thing that's really nice about this guy, he's a bigger figure, he comes in a bigger box, but he still is retail priced at the same price point as all of the other figures in the line, which runs between $20 to $22 depending on where you pick him up. He's available at comic shops now, specialty shops, and online stores such as BigBadToyStore.com. So happy hunting, my friends! And hey, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button. Until next time, my friends!